Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Weekly Hyperfixations. I'm Riot, and this week, first of all, new schedule, uploading Friday instead. Um, so that is a little different than it has been. It just makes it a little easier with all of the community theater I do to um move it to a Friday upload. So here we are. Um so this week I feel like we have a lot more substantial things to talk about, thank goodness. Um I actually paid attention to any sort of media. um Surprisingly, just after having house sat and spending a lot of time outside, then I paid attention to media again. So a couple things. We'll start with Marvel Rival stuff. Jeff the Landshark is getting reworked in a way that makes it look like he will no longer be super entertaining to play, because they're changing enough things that it first of all, it'll take a little getting used to, but also it seems to make him less effective as a healer, which is weird. But like, I don't see why they needed to put a cooldown and like a stamina limit on his wall climbing ability. Doesn't really seem like there was much need for that. Just stuff like that. Um, Ultron has been officially announced as a character for the game, which is nice. He's kind of in the same vein of how technically Mr. Fantastic is a duelist, but he can function as a tank. Ultron is technically a strategist, but he functions more like a duelist. Which is an interesting take, but meh. They did limit themselves to three pretty strict categories, so, you know. Um, there's also the new Hawkeye skin coming out. The binary something is what it's called. And then that one's for free by doing an event. And then there's also going to be another like cyborg type skin with Magneto, which I want that skin. I don't even play Magneto. I will. um I just need some practice with him. I think those are all the Marvel Rival updates. Marvel Rivals updates. Wow, I can speak. Um um Another piece of silly goofy news. The Phineas and Ferb revival has put out its first little trailer. Seems like they got it on lock. They have the same team working on it, so it should be good, hopefully. Um, it was a banger show to begin with, and it seems like it should be. It should continue to be a banger. Um, so that's promising. Ooh. Mm, yeah. What I'm gonna do with the rest of my topics is break up the bigger topics with little things. So our first bigger topic is Harvard is offering 3 new free online classes, of which are titled U.S. Government Basics, Constitution 101, and How to Spot a Dictatorship. So yeah. Also, I feel like a lot of people are talking about just these free classes. Harvard does offer other free classes, some of which I'm quite interested in and I'm considering. But I just wanted to put that extra little addendum onto the circulating information of Harvard offering those 3 free classes. They do also offer other free classes. They offer one on Shakespeare that I'm a little bit keen on. I might take that class. But Harvard's just throwing out banger after banger. Which is funny to me. This is a more of a Riot focused, exciting thing. There's going to be a Pokemon Direct on July 22nd. I don't know why they announced it so early, but it's, you know, it's slated for being after the Switch 2 release, so I guess it makes sense. They're kind of giving people a heads up about that, which is nice. Let's see. The American Music Awards happened, and J-Lo had a pretty okay performance, but she kissed multiple of her backup dancers, which the internet is going ham over. It's really funny. Mainly because, like, she can do it she wants. Like, I feel like, I guess this isn't something that happens in, like, every stage performance, but, like, it's for an event. It's a big event. That event is a big deal. It makes sense that you would do something a little more different for it. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Ugh. I want to talk it. Wow. Whoa, I can't talk. Lost my train of thought there. I simultaneously do and do not want to talk about this. But I'm going to anyway. So the Lilo and Stitch movie flopped really hard once the public started seeing it and talking about it on social media. Several things wrong. First of all, they turned it into American propaganda, which is entirely against the original point of the film. Like, it sucks. It's like there's blatant propaganda in it, which is so disheartening and gross. But more on that later, unfortunately. Let's see. They will ramp up to, like, the really not good. So we'll start with despite the director's best efforts, they didn't allow him to have Pleakley in drag, which was also a pretty core part of the original film and the shows. Both Pleakley and Jamba's human disguises were just them wearing human clothes and wigs. It wasn't like them transforming into a normal human, which is what they did in this movie. Also, Jamba doesn't have his accent. Doesn't have his little sciencey accent. It's not sciencey. It's like, he talks about his little experiments, and it's that kind of voice. But, like, they took that out, which is weird. They made him not big. Also weird. They also made him the villain, which technically he is a little bit in the original one, but there's so many worse things. And also, you know, having him be the villain in this really seems to defeat the point of, like, the entire story arc he had originally, where he started being nicer, and then he was functionally a father figure for the entire group, especially in the show. And then they took out, apparently they made Cobra Bubbles like a little, like a shorter, older man, which is weird. He's supposed to be a CIA agent, which is strange. But a lot of the things that they changed in this movie are either straight up propaganda or thinly veiled propaganda. Like, in that scenario, it's God forbid a government agency look bad, basically. God forbid someone is not shown in a positive light. That's what a villain is, guys. The mouse is just really pandering to the wrong crowd with this movie, really. Um, Outside of Stitch himself, all of the CGI seems to be really off-putting. I think the what the fuck did I call her? The alien lady who's in charge of things. She doesn't look terrible to me. She does look a little unsettling, but she doesn't look egregious to me. But this is just my opinion. One of my friends disagrees with that because he finds her really off-putting, but Pleakley looks very off-putting in alien form, but that's just because when you cartoonify him, it's not as scary. But this is my least favorite. This isn't my least favorite thing. This is my least favorite bit of CGI and like cutting. Well, I guess this is one of my least favorite parts of the film because it takes away the original conflict of the film. Gontu's just not there. Hey, where's my 20-foot tall whale-shaped alien? Please? Can I please get my favorite character? Actually, my favorite character is Gontu. And they didn't put him in here. And some people tried to argue that, oh, well, this was a movie that was originally going to be put straight to streaming. Hey, the mouse has money. It doesn't matter. The mouse has money. It does not matter. Okay? Yeah. But I think also my big problem with taking Gontu just completely out like that, it's obvious they did that because they don't want any sort of military officer to look bad. Any sort of, well, I don't, he's militaristic. I don't think he's technically military, but he works for the Empire. But, you know, they would have had to have made, if they included him, he would have had to have been the villain and therefore would have looked bad. And apparently that was too much. But I think the real issue of that is it just kind of, it already, the second people found out that Gontu wasn't in the movie, everyone panicked. And it was like, well, then what the hell is the conflict with this movie? Because he is essential to the plot of the original. So, like, not having him was already setting it up for quite the failure, but then the ending is wildly egregious. You know, in the original film. Also, hold on. Also, because of the ending, because of how they did the ending, Stitch being in the movie is literally not necessary. Because Stitch's whole thing is he's named Stitch because his presence functionally stitches the family back together, because Lilo and Nani fight a lot and he's supposed to bring them closer together, stitch that back together. And then the ending happens, so he doesn't need to be there anymore. There's literally no reason for him to be there. They also made it so they can't really make a sequel at all, which is weird for Disney. So, biggest spoilers coming, but it's different than the original movie in an egregious way, and I don't think it should matter spoiler wise because this movie's not really worth seeing in theaters anyway. At the end of the movie, there's this conversation that happens at some point during the film where Lilo's trying to say that, oh, Nani wants to be a marine biologist. Instead, they have her say Nani wants to join the Marines, or Nani wants to become one of the Marines or whatever. And someone corrects her and says, no, 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 marine biologist, that's different. Blatant propaganda right there. Hell no. Get that out of here. It really feels like you exploited the young actor in that moment. Okay? Because she literally wouldn't understand why that would not be a good thing to say. Then oh my god. So, a little bit of extra context as to why this bit would be bad. If you are a native Hawaiian living in Hawaii, you get free tuition and board at colleges on the island. There's 10 of them. If you are specifically doing marine biology, okay, that's important. That's important. Keep that in your mind. Okay. The end of the movie, when, you know, they do the thing where Cobra Bubbles is going to take Lilo away from Nani, Nani lets them so she can go to school on the mainland. And in fact, she goes to school in, like, Nebraska, which is a landlocked state. Why the fuck would you study marine biology in a state that is not even close to it? It's such blatant propaganda. It's such blatant American propaganda that it eliminates any semblance of the same movie. The animated movie and this movie could not be farther apart from each other. Literally, if you tried. Literally could not be farther apart. Nani gives Lilo up to the system, technically. On technicality, she leaves Lilo with the neighbors. But here's the thing. It's a singular guy and his grandmother. If that grandma dies, Lilo can be put into the system and never seen again. A lot of people don't understand how terrible the foster system is in America, and Hawaii is unfortunately a part of America. It should not be, but it is. Nightmarish. This is a nightmare scenario for Lilo. Also, Ohana means family, means no one gets left behind. Hey, you ruined the statement of the statement of the movie, actually. You actually ruined it. Mouse. Yeah, anyways, that's my rant. There's so much more I could talk about that's negative. It sucks real bad. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're gonna briefly talk about Beyonce. You know, Cowboy Carter tours going on. Excuse me. There's that song where she says, "But you're not a diva" or whatever. And, you know, it's kind of like a Jumbotron moment. She'll point to someone, the camera will point to them. And I assume what the instructions that the camera people are given is find someone who doesn't seem to be having as much fun and, like, doesn't seem to be, like, dancing or singing along, that kind of thing. Someone who's just kind of passively watching is what it feels like the instruction was there. But at a fairly recent one of the tours, it was two white girls that showed up on screen, and one of them looked really mad about it. But like, hey, stoicism at a Beyonce concert with how much you would have had to pay for these damn tickets? Are you kidding me? Hey, if you didn't want to have fun, why'd you spend so much money on tickets? You know what I mean? But like, I digress. I get some people, you know, some people are mad at Beyonce for calling these people out. I don't think it was necessarily her decision of who to pick. With how many people are in each stadium for this tour, she can't see that far. This stadium's too big. Anyway, I thought that was funny. All right. We get to talk about my favorite game, Fields of Mistria, because they announced the next update. Next update is in July. Here's what we got on the roadmap. All right, I'll put the roadmap up, presumably. The roadmap is we've got NPC heart cap raised to 8 hearts. There's new dateable events. There's new 8 heart dialogue for both romantic and best friend routes, which I think means that even if it's a romanceable character, you can choose to just be their friend and still get to full hearts with them and everything, which is nice. Also, they're introducing a dating mechanic. I'm going to assume that's something along the lines of you walk up to the character, ask if they want to hang out, and then you go and do something, like maybe grab some lunch at the inn, have a nice little date, have a picnic, you know, something like that, probably go to the beach, that kind of thing. Of course, the mines, they're doing new monsters, new variant mechanics, new unlockable cosmetics, renown being raised, new museum sets. All my time's gonna go into those. New town repair requests, 2 new unlockable Saturday market vendors. You bet your ass I'm gonna strive for those because I've already bought out all of them. Lewis hasn't had anything to sell to me for like 6 months or more. I think more. And then a new festival, which would be the Halloween festival, which I'm extremely excited about because everyone gets little costumes. I'm very excited. And then skill cap raising up to 60, new skill perks, new home upgrade, new player cosmetics, new furniture. Thank God. I'm huge on customizing character cosmetics for your character, things to decorate your house. I'm really big on that. I really like Final Fantasy XIV because you get to constantly change what your character looks like, literally on a whim if you so desire, and I love it. And then there's going to be larger storage chests. Thank the Lord, I keep running out of space. And then there's an update to storage chest UI, and then greenhouses. And I swear, I hope that I hope that the addition of greenhouses means that you're going to be able to plant crops in there regardless of season, because then you can just constantly have like some berry bushes or something. And if you plant enough of them in the right, like, you know, if you plant a couple one day, a couple the next day, so on and so forth, eventually you're just going to have a rotation where you're harvesting every single day. Which I say that as if I need the money in the game. I don't. I really don't. I have too much money in the game, and I wish they would give me something really expensive to spend it on. So that I can get rid of it. But I'm very excited about that projected roadmap. for the July update. I will be in the throes of Tech Week by then, I believe. That's July is when the production really gets going. So there is that, but I'm still excited about it. We're the first production of the new season, so very exciting. I don't know what the rest of the season is yet. I do know there's a script in hand performance coming up, but aside from that, I don't know. I think Oliver maybe is happening. Yes, Oliver's definitely happening this season. I don't remember when though. But that is all of our regular notes. We're gonna move on to the pyramid. This pyramid is a little wonky just because, like, it's hard to pick out individuals, you know, for anything. So some of these are characters, as they are usually. But, you know. So first up on the pyramid is Magneto. First of all, Magneto, always correct. Second of all, thank you, devs, for that new skin that he's getting. I shake my hand with them. That's just a silly one. Also, if you don't think Magneto is pretty much always correct in, like, his, beliefs, I guess. No, of course, some of his beliefs, not as much, but his, like, main one that he talks about the most, hey, it's a little weird if you don't agree with that. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys heard that over the mic, but a car just zoomed past really loudly and backfired. But, like, Magneto understanding that, like, hey, they're always going to dislike us because we're different. Like, hey, if you don't think that's always true, maybe look at yourself, buddy. Magneto enjoyer. Not in that way. He's just he's good. Thumbs up, Magneto. Anyway. Next up on the pyramid is the cat I was house sitting, and they do have a cat, and it's her. So next up on the pyramid is Miss Monkey. She's adorable, and I love her. She's really little. She's like 7 years old, and she's still really small. Like, there's a cat in my house that's like 1.5 times bigger than her and is way younger than her. She's just a small cat. Probably the runt of her litter, if I'd had to guess. But she's really silly, and I came up from the basement and showered. And when I came back up, there was a cabinet door open, and I looked at my partner and I was like, "Hey, did you open this cabinet?" And they were like, "No, I didn't." So I don't know what happened for the cabinet to open, but I looked in and I was like, this feels like the kind of place a cat would get into to take a nap. And I turned my flashlight on, and sure enough, she was sitting top shelf in the way back in towels. Yeah. We did tell her owners about that, because we were like, she was just taking a nap. I don't know how much you care about cat hair on your towels. But yeah. Miss Monkey's on the pyramid because she is adorable and I love her. And she's the most normal cat I know. So honestly kind of impressive at this point that I know so many cats, but the only normal cat I know is her. There's 7 cats in where I live, and none of them are normal. Next up on the pyramid, and I am hoping I'm saying her last name correctly, is Maya Kealoha. she's the little girl that plays Lilo in the live action movie. She's on the pyramid because I feel so bad for her, because surely she doesn't understand everything about why people are complaining about the movie she was in, and this is like her first big role, that kind of thing. And I really hope it's not damaging to her career. She seems like a great little kid. She seems like she wanted to put her heart and soul into it. And then, you know, corporate greed really just swooped in and made a movie that she will grow up and not really be proud of. And I feel so badly for her, because there's a lot that even just due to how old she is, she can't really comprehend, because her brain hasn't developed to the point needed for that kind of comprehension. And I feel so bad for her because she just doesn't know like the weight of why people don't like the movie, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's why Maya's on the pyramid. Next up on the pyramid is Gantu. I miss my alien with vague appearance of whale that is 20 feet tall. I miss him. He was gigantic. Also loved the voice they had for him. I don't know who the voice actor was, but I really, really, like, I can picture it in my head. And I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch or any of the show or anything in a really long time, and I still know exactly how they all sound. But Gantu's certainly my favorite, especially when they get him to put on tourist clothes, because it just looks so off. Because they find a shirt that fits him, but he's 20 feet tall, so it's like a crop top on him. I love that. Gantu's on the pyramid because they removed him and he was important and my favorite character. So Gantu's on the pyramid. Loved him. Literally my favorite character in Lilo and Stitch. Hard stop. That is my favorite character. So yeah. Also, not having him in the movie makes me assume that Lilo also did not get kidnapped at any point, because he's who kidnaps her. I don't know why Jamba would do that. Next up on the pyramid is Renee Rapp. I mentioned the AMAs earlier, but I did not mention her performance. She performed a new song live for the first time, and wow, woman pretty. Woman pretty, y'all. Listen, I'm no better than a man with this. That is a hot woman. Oh my gosh. Also the song's good. I like the song, but woman, yes. Listen, it's one thing for a woman to be super hot. It's another for a woman to be super hot and be so acutely aware that she is. That's crazy. So that's why Renee Rapp's on the pyramid. First up on the pyramid is Baby No Money. Released a new song this morning, Mary Poppins. And he originally had Asmongold in the video, but has censored him out. Censored his face out of the video because he did not realize the things that Asmongold stood for beforehand, because they filmed it before he knew. So due to that, Asmongold was edited out of the video. I'm going to pull up the exact statement. BB, no. Yeah, the opening says, at the time of this recording, I was unaware of certain individuals' ethical beliefs. As a result, I've chosen to censor those whose values I do not support. Additionally, All funds generated by this video will be donated to the PCRF. So, that was his solution because, you know, still want to put the video out, but taking that guy's face out of it was a good move. Yeah. Hey, y'all, we made the right guy famous, I think, on this one. Because he efficiently and properly addresses things like that, which is really nice. We don't usually get that with celebrities, so that's nice. So baby no money's on the pyramid, because this man has actual morals and ethics understanding. So, I know it's the bare minimum, but hey, it's something. That is what we got for today. Our new upload schedule is Fridays, but it's the same time. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Same place. It is same time, same place. It's just on a different day. Now Friday uploads. So yeah. Oh my goodness. My brain is like short-circuiting right now. Thank you all so much for watching. It means a lot to me that y'all sit here and watch me yap for like half an hour every week. And it's also just very fun to do because and I've talked about this a bunch, but the whole premise of this channel and this weekly upload is to track my hyperfixations over time, which in effect also captures social trend over time. And I didn't realize how important me doing that would be. And then the current administration happened. So, yeah. It be like that. So I don't plan on stopping doing this. I'll be so for real with y'all. Plus I just get to talk about silly, goofy things. We talked mostly about a movie today. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Next week, Friday, same time, same place. I'll see you then. Yeah. Have a good one, y'all. I don't know what else to say. Bye, y'all.